This episode was recorded on TikTok Live. It may not be up to our normal standard quality.
We can just do it this way. I feel like this way is fine. And if case
That's
like
fine.
people want to join, I guess we'll have room for them.
Yeah, sure. I don't mind.
Yeah.
I'm sure people are going to disagree with me. So
I think so, man. I think so. I saw some of your earlier videos, and I was like, "Oh, you're not on board." But then when I see John Cena do his promos, I'm like, "Is he talking to Nev? Is he talking straight to him?"
no, he if he was, he did a poor job.
Listen, I have a very different perspective than you, but mostly because I haven't been in the wrestling game for a while. You've been molded by it. You've been a little bit more cynical than I am. I have a little bit more hope for what's going on right now, and I figured I thought WrestleMania would, because we had a Elimination Chamber a few weeks ago, and usually every 3 weeks or 4 weeks we have like a new PLE. But WrestleMania is not coming for 4 weeks. So I was like, let's hop on and discuss how we're feeling in the middle of all this WrestleMania stuff before we start actually before they actually start ramping it up.
Yeah, I mean this is new in and of itself because you're right. Usually WrestleMania takes place end of March or beginning of April.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, they've pushed it to near the end of April, mid-April, April 19th, 20th, or whatever it is. So it is weird that way in and of itself. So, yeah, I mean,
Do you think it's taken away from the excitement? Someone just said, Somberton, he just said, I'm just not as excited as I want to be. So like maybe this gap in the between is slowing it down, because right now we don't have too many cards. Only one we know of is John Cena and Cody Rhodes, and then we got the three-way, which we just found out last week, of CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. Those are the only two matches we have on the card, and there's 2 days. There's 2 days of cards on there.
no, we have four. We have at least, well, we just got another one last night, but there's Cena, Cody, Jay Gunther, the triple threat that you just mentioned, Tiffany, Charlotte, and then apparently Logan and AJ has been confirmed now.
That's how bad some of these bookings have been, because I totally forgot about Jay and Gunther. And Jay is literally the Royal Rumble winner the Royal Rumble winner is supposed to have the main event match, and he's not even having that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they now are ramping things up. What happened last night on Raw. But I do think the gap has been hard for them because they had to kind of just get through the first 3 weeks since Chamber, basically, and now they're like, oh well, now we only got 3 weeks. Now we can really amplify things. And I'm like, that you could have done that literally the night after Chamber. I don't know why you waited this long, to do stuff.
I get the hyping it up or getting people to get into, because someone just said it, having Cena show up multiple times and not even respond to Cody didn't help. I don't know. I thought that kind of built it up, because everyone was like, they're not letting Cena talk because he would cook him. They're not letting Cena talk because he would cook him. And then they finally let him talk, and they actually mentioned the fact that he would cook him, which is thing, because it sounds like the writers or the people who are writing the dialogue, or is John Cena himself and Cody Rhodes himself, are very aware of what's being said around them in the metaverse. And I think that's fascinating. I haven't seen that, because things that I have seen creators talk about are literally being mentioned by Cena and Cody themselves. And I think that's really weird and almost kind of exciting. I don't know if we've ever seen that before in this way.
Yeah, I mean, it's not. I'm not gonna say it's super common, but it has happened a number of times throughout the years, in the last decade especially, where they do kind of break the fourth wall more, and they or they use insider terms, or they reference things that are being discussed online, because it's hard to avoid, so it's better to make it part of the show, versus acting like it's not there. So again, it's not super common, but it has happened quite a bit. But again, you haven't been watching for a long time, so it makes sense that like you're not as like aware that they do it. So that's why the other thing I was like, oh, okay, yeah, like this is especially for main event because that's when they really do is for like these big stories, these main event characters. They get the most leeway to do that, whereas like two mid carders would never really reference things outs like they wouldn't really break the fourth wall. It's more like pure in character, like oh you attacked me last week, and it's like okay yeah whatever.
There's a lot of things that they said that I don't think mid carders would be allowed. They brought up Vince McMahon, the
Yeah,
reference to Tony Khan.
yeah,
Like these things don't happen often, and I think it's one of those things. Like I feel like that's the way it should be. 'Cause if you overdo this, then it loses its appeal. But I'm watching this and I'm just like, whoa, they're dropping bars, and I really think they were. I don't know like how you feel about the whole thing, but with the exchange that they had last week, I thought was pretty solid. I thought it was pretty good.
yeah. I mean, kind of piggybacking off what Somberton is saying is like at least finally they confronted each other. I mean, Cody, I guess, has been, but still, like any feud really works when the people get to interact in some way, right? And so, like Cena just talking to the fans, and then Cody just having his 2 minutes to respond to whatever. It's not like it was bad, but it's not really building any tension and animosity between the two. And so like this exchange, while I have a lot of thoughts about it, I do think it was executed well. Like the delivery, well, I don't know. Cena feels like he's really trying. He's like straining himself when he's speaking. Like his vein in his neck is popping out, dude. And I'm just like, why are you straining yourself so much to like be this like the aggression feels so inauthentic. Like he's really performing it, and I'm just like, it just comes off like he's really trying to like act, and I'm like, dude, it's not that serious.
Yeah, maybe it does come off a little forced, but Dina just broke up with us like 2 weeks ago.
Well,
That's our ex.
I broke up with him. Well, actually, I was never with him because I was never a Cena fan, so it's cool. I'm fine with it.
My favorite part was when he goes like, "I called out a random kid in the audience," and he made a reference to that.
Yeah, I mean, I just you said you've seen my content, so like I just feel like this whole thing is so late for Cena. Like it just doesn't make sense at this point in his career, and like maybe sure he wanted to, I guess, flex his muscles or like try out something new, and fair enough. But I think I just don't think it works for the time being. Like even still, people are still cheering Cena at points throughout the promo. Like they boo him when they need to, but people are still chanting Cena and cheering for him at times. And I'm like, this big heel turn, it's what is this if they're all still reacting positive? Because people wanted to be positively reacting to Cena. So it's like trying to force the audience to react in a way that they don't want to.
Yeah.
I just don't see why that was the best approach, like the decision they made.
The thing where I agree with you is that it does feel like too little too late, and the fact that like this whole heel run is only going to run for like 8 months, right? Or 9 months or so, because he's done after the end of the year. And there's not enough time to really like let it fester and let us really hate Cena, because as soon as he gets to the point that we really hate him, he's either going to change back to a face so that he leaves as a face, or he leaves as a heel. Either way, it leaves us feeling shortchanged, because there's not enough time for it to like really go. It's only like a few months of this. So I do agree with you there. I do feel like that. But for the time being, if you ignore that part, like that's the fourth wall that you have to break. And if you ignore the kayfabe and just pretend he's a bad guy and just love it for the moment, like I like the exchanges. It makes it exciting because you don't know what they're going to say next, because they might say something that's in character, they might say something that's out of character, and for them to go back in and out of that, I thought it's pretty engaging.
Yeah. I mean, they really did a good job with the exchange, right? And we can get into it. I can pick apart a lot of the things they said, but I don't want to take away from the exchange itself. It was good, but I, and I'm like of two minds. Like what you said, I get that too. And sometimes I'm like, am I looking at it even from a like in story perspective? It's just like Somberton saying like, why now? From an in story perspective, and like his reasoning to me again also doesn't make sense. Like as a in story, I don't think it makes sense. But
So the thing is, like, I agree with you until I started seeing this week's promo, and he's like, first he was like, first of all, I'm not giving you guys new ring gear. I'm not giving you guys new music because that's gonna make them kind of cheer for him, right? And he's like, you get nothing, which I think is pretty hilarious. But the fact that like he says like, hey, all of these things I have been criticized of, I am now throwing it back into your face, right? He's like, all these years, people have said, said that I suck while I was the face. They told me how much I suck. They told you can't wrestle. They have the audience chant you can't wrestle, which Cody put that in there, and I was like, damn, that's gotta sting. So I get that, and the fact that like he's like I did sacrifice all of this for you, and you guys didn't appreciate it. So screw it. And it's not so different from every other you people trope that we see, but it is different because it's John Cena, and it just feels a little different.
Yeah, I see your perspective. For me, the issue is that it doesn't feel different because it's John Cena, and he shouldn't be doing the same thing that everybody else is doing. That's like where I differ is your complaints. First of all, we're going to get into it. His complaints don't make sense. They just don't make sense. Even the one from this.
Because from my perspective, like I have very little insight. So for me, based on what I've heard from you and from other people, is that like people didn't like him because he buried people, and then like he was like the main guy, even though like CM Punk had the belt, he still didn't, main event WrestleMania, like all of these things that he's done, and I was like, okay, I get it, and now he's complaining about that stuff, and when he says like the fans turned on him and the fans don't like him, like honestly, part of me feels like he actually means this stuff. Like I don't think he's acting. I think part of it always bothered him a little bit, but he had to be that face. He had to be that good guy. He had to let it roll off his back. And this is like his one time to be like, you know what? Part of me really felt this like hatred back towards the audience, and now I'm going to go heel and just spit all that out and get it all out. Even though maybe I don't feel that way 90% of the time, there's a part of me that does feel that way and underappreciated for what I did. And when he says some of these things, I almost feel like he means them.
Yeah, it's completely possible. I obviously we don't know, right, what's in his mind, but even from 2015, he was starting to get cheered more, majority people cheering him. He won the U.S. Championship, and he started doing an open challenge. So every week he'd come out and he'd give someone a shot at facing him for the championship. And so they had all these like mid-carders. Like at the time, Sami Zayn was not a main event guy, so he came out, he faced Cena. There are a bunch of mid-carders facing Cena, or lower guys kind of like near the main event. You know what I'm saying? And he was also wrestling, and a lot of people thought that like he was able to showcase more of his wrestling ability. So that's why they became more appreciative of him. Again, this was in 2015. So now for 10 years, he's primarily been getting cheered. And so I just feel like you really are a child, that you've carried this frustration for not even 10. Like, you're just a child. Like, you're being cheered. You're being lauded after. Like, people want to see you and see you do your thing. I said this to, I don't know if it was you, but I said this to other people. Like, people wanted him to win the Rumble. There were a lot of people upset he didn't win the Rumble. And then they wanted him to win Chamber, and they want him to win the championship. They want him to break the record. It's not like they're like, oh no, Cena's going to win, like the way it was back in 2010. Yeah. So I'm like, what are you upset about? There's nothing to be upset about right now. Like, you carried this for 10 plus years. But like, get over it, dude. You're like one of the biggest stars in the world. You're successful in Hollywood. People love you as Peacemaker and all this stuff. What are you crying about now?
I do agree with both you and Somberton that this was like supposed to happen 10 years ago, right? But in John's defense, from what I've learned, he wanted to do it a couple of years ago. They stopped him. And this is probably a storyline that he's been holding on to. And maybe it's a little outdated, but like it still makes sense in the sense that all these things did happen to him, right? And this is probably how he did feel. And like Thumberton says, when there's an element of truth in it, it just makes it hit so much more. So I'd rather him do an old storyline that has an element of truth in it that he really feels about than come up with some brand new story that is completely fabricated that he's just going through the motions and acting it out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a middle ground for that, you know. Like, I was thinking if he had used similar reasoning, right? But he could say, all you have to do is add a little thing to it, and it ties into The Rock. He's like, I joke because we still don't know why he sold his soul to The Rock. Really, like we can speculate, we can assume, but he hasn't given a reason. So it could be, hey, when I went to Hollywood, when I started doing Hollywood, The Rock and I actually became really close. We became great buds, and he's the biggest star in Hollywood. And I realized Hollywood is where I'll get that appreciation that all the fans here never gave me. All you people who booed me for 20 years or whatever he wants to say, you don't deserve me. So I'm going to take this championship to Hollywood, where I've always been appreciated. So you tie in the time that he was booed, but you say, hey, I don't need you anymore. I'm bigger than you. So it's like a middle ground. Like, it doesn't have to be like completely unreal and like just made up for story, but it doesn't have to be so, what I feel is like outdated, you know. I mean, and yeah, it's also then just playing off of Hogan too, like Hollywood Hogan, like it's just Hollywood Rock. He also did, The Rock did a similar thing when he turned heel back in like 2003, because he was pretty much done being a full-timer, but he'd show up occasionally, and so he turned heel, and like he was doing that. He's just like, I'm a Hollywood guy now, and like that's also what, there's very few like new concepts you can create in wrestling, let's be honest. So I'm not expecting this like completely brand new thing, especially because something I guess I'm coming to terms with is WWE will probably always be like a lowest common denominator type of like storytelling, right? Like, they're not trying to do cinema. As much as people want you to throw that word around for things, they're not trying to do cinema with, like, really complex and intricate characters. They put layers. They put some layers. But, like, you're not getting Scorsese or something, you know? So, like, because if it was me, I do Cena having a midlife crisis where he has to realize that time has passed. I think I told you about this, when we talked last time, where I would have just done him coming to terms with the fact that he's no longer the John Cena of 2010 or 2015 even, and now like there's just faster, stronger, better wrestlers now, and that's it. Like, you don't have to turn heel for that. He's just coming to terms with the fact that it's not his time anymore. His time is not now. But like that requires a lot more nuance than I think the WWE is willing to explore.
Yeah, and also doesn't have the time to do that, right? Yeah. The thing is, for me, I'm enjoying it in the moment.
Sure.
I'm liking it. But I do have the same concerns that you have in terms of how is this going to play out. If I'm looking at it like 1 year from now, I'm like, this is very shaky. Like, I feel like it's going to get good, and then they're just going to like speed up. It's going to be like Game of Thrones. Yeah, you'll have a few good seasons, and then at the end, it's just going to be really rushed, and you're just going to be left unsatisfied. So I do have that fear. And when I look at it in that perspective, I agree with you. But when I'm just watching it week to week, I'm enjoying the Cena memes. I'm enjoying the Cena comments. I'm enjoying the whatchamacallit. Like, I don't bury talent. I am talent. I bury mediocrity with Wade Barrett sitting like 5 feet from him. Like, I think that's so funny.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, this is why I also enjoy talking to you about it, because you have that different perspective. Even though, like, you know wrestling, because you haven't been watching for 20 years now, like, you have, in a way, you have a casual fan's perspective, which is kind of cool. And so it's like a good, like, grounding kind of thing of like, oh, you know what? Whatever, it is silly, like entertainment. Maybe I shouldn't take it so seriously, but like my brain's just so like wired in, I'm just like, he said this thing, but it makes it, so sometimes I get caught up in that, but that's also part of the fun.
It is part of the fun. I agree. But like the thing is, like, when you think about like how the internet and everyone is reacting to it, and I feel like I'm not the only one. I feel like a lot of people have gotten back into wrestling recently. The fans have grown. The freaking events are sold out. I tried to go to you and me went to SmackDown for MSG. We got tickets. It was like hard to get. Then I tried to get it again for Raw. I couldn't get it. Every ticket was over like I think like $600.
Yeah, the prices are insane.
Yeah, and like
You're
WrestleMania,
right.
like no way you can get WrestleMania tickets. It's crazy expensive.
And you're absolutely right. Something I realized is that at least the fans that I'm seeing talk about wrestling on TikTok and social media, they're younger or newer fans.
Yeah.
So, because like sometimes they're like, why did they do this? Or, I don't understand this thing. I'm like, that's a pretty common trope in wrestling to like just set up the triple threat. Like they're like, oh, like why wasn't Rhea disqualified? I'm like, referee's discretion. It's always been a thing that they've like ingrained in our brains. The commentary has always been like, oh, it's up to the refs. They get to decide, and I'm just like, I don't know what you're complaining. I have to remind myself, or I'm realizing, wow, a lot of people are just newer or maybe less familiar, or maybe they don't pay attention to wrestling in that way either, which is fine. If that's how you enjoy wrestling, obviously, more power to you. But I think that's what I'm realizing is like, oh, not everybody consumes wrestling and understands wrestling the way I like look at it, and that's why they're reacting. So I have to like give them and myself more grace when reacting to other creators talking about it, because I'll be like, what do you like? I get upset at them, and I'm like, oh, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. They're whatever. They view it differently. Like same thing. Even with what you're saying about Cena, I'm like, okay, I can see your point, and like even though I still have my feelings and my gripes with it, I'm like, I get what Neebz is saying.
Yeah, someone mentioned that Netflix brought in a lot of people also, so there's a lot of new fans on Netflix. Also. That is also a good point. I don't doubt that.
Somberton, you want to join in?
Yeah, Simpleton, Brown Boy Wonder, Megs, if you guys want to join in, we're talking about wrestling. Feel free to join in. I'll send you guys an invite. Someone says I paid $800 for 2 tickets for WrestleMania 38, and they were decent seats. This year is just crazy.
Yeah, man. I looked as well for Raw because it was like in MSG a couple of weeks ago now, and I was just like, oh, that'd be cool, and then no way, I wasn't paying $400 or $500 for like okay seats.
I might for SummerSlam, but not for just like Raw.
Dude, SummerSlam's gonna be insane.
SummerSlam's gonna be in New Jersey. So I'm gonna try to go. We'll see.
Hello.
Hey, what's up, Somberton? How are you?
Good. Oh man, so a funny thing now of you bringing up the USA run with Cena is like that was around the last time I kind of got back into wrestling, which was like a really random time in my life because I've always been like wrestling adjacent. Like I'm big into video games and a lot of like the gaming sites I follow also like talk about wrestling and stuff. So I'm always like kind of aware of it. But like one year randomly, like 4 different people I knew who like knew each other separately took the same sociology of wrestling class in university. And so a bunch of people I knew were suddenly talking about wrestling and watching wrestling and getting into it. So I started actually like watching it too. And it was in like the lead up to WrestleMania 31, I think. That was the one with like Lesnar, where Rollins stole it with the Money in the Bank from like Lesnar and Reigns. And like that was such an awesome WrestleMania. And it was so cool, and I don't know, I haven't watched every WrestleMania, obviously, but like the way people talk about it, I was like, that's an especially good one. So I felt like, oh, this is such a great moment to be getting back into wrestling. But then the Raw the next day, which like everyone talks about, is like, oh, that's like the beginning of the season for like, the year, and it has like the WrestleMania audience. So this is like the biggest, most, fan-filled audience you got. There was a women's tag match with the Bellas and AJ Lee and I don't remember her name, but she was like married to one of the Usos. And during it, they just started chanting, "Cena sucks." right? Because Nikki was, in a relationship with Cena.
Oh, yeah.
But, and this is one of the things that kind of ruined this experience with wrestling for me, is they didn't stop there. Is they used the Cena sucks chant and turned it into you suck Cena. And then they turned it into, oh, you suck Daniel because Bray's married to Daniel Bryan. You suck Punk. You suck Uso. And it's just like, oh, wait, this is like the biggest, best audience. And you guys are going to let like chanting Cena sucks, whatever. That's like a fun thing. But then like you're going to let that toxicity turn into like actual toxicity.
That's crazy.
And yeah, it was just like such a weird, like, I don't know. And then like, my friends like their course wrapped up and like suddenly no one was talking about wrestling anymore. And I kind of just faded out after that. But yeah, I remember that just being like a part of like, it kind of like tainted the whole experience for me. And that's why like Neebz, you bring it up, Cena talking like, that like this is actually real emotion that he actually was hurt by this stuff. I think it is like a real place because like it goes so much deeper than just him as a wrestler. It's like, they attacked his girlfriend and like other stuff in his real life things. And it's like you can't separate that. Like no matter how much of a professional attitude you try to take, it's like that stuff's gonna cut deep no matter what.
That's a good point.
Yeah. And so like that's what I love about like when he's out there talking about this and he's like, and like I hate you guys. But my problem is that would have been like a great moment like 10 years ago when the audience was against him. And like now it just feels like everyone was on his side. Like he's like, especially with this, like we're talking about like new people coming into wrestling, like people know John Cena as a movie star and a meme. And like if you're just a casual outside person who knows nothing about wrestling, you probably don't know people like wrestling fans hate Cena.
Yeah.
Right? You're like, oh yeah, John Cena, everyone loves him. Can't see me. His theme song. Like we know this. If you know anything about wrestling, it's John Cena. He does the Make-A-Wish stuff. So like it's interesting to me to like for them to be like playing off all of this history in a time when like you have the biggest influx of like new and like returning fans.
Yeah.
Not that it's like bad, like, but it's just like I feel like they could have leaned into that dynamic better and like make it more apparent. And like I think I messaged you, Nav, earlier about how like the whole Elimination Chamber thing, he was starting to get heat on him from the audience.
Yeah.
Of, like people going like, like you forced your way in here. You haven't been around. You don't deserve this. Like if you want to make like people wanted him to like make this record run. I think people wanted him to people kind of wanted him to win Rumble. Like they want him to have the shot at the record at least. But they're like, you're kind of just throwing your weight around. You didn't deserve this. And for me, it's like, it's so weird to have him just kind of win Elimination Chamber. And I feel like if it had been like, he lost and Punk got it, but then he teamed up with The Rock and then them collectively as like the two biggest wrestling stars, movie stars, they force it into like, now it's a triple threat, or he like steals Jay's shot at the title or something. Like you can branch stories out of there of like turning the audience like, you don't deserve this. Like you can't just come back in and steal it.
I mean, the thing is, I don't know. People are saying that there still might be a chance that Punk might be able to weasel his way into the title match. That was the real favorite.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible, but it feels, especially after this promo between Cena and Rhodes this week, it feels like it would just muddy the waters.
Yeah.
Especially because he has the match, so is he going to do both? Like it just feels kind of weird because the story is between Cody and Cena, and so then for Punk to come in, it can work, but also then that's 3 triple threat matches we're going to get, which is a lot for like a Mania.
I don't know if I would love that. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I don't think I could see Cena winning, and then Punk's favor is he gets a shot at Cena or something like that. Like, like he's the first one, or I don't know, but like they're definitely fighting. First of all, they're definitely having a match at some point. But Megs, you should come in. I know him and I have varying opinions.
I know.
But that's the thing. If you saw the video I did, like it was the guy was like, what wrestling opinion will have you like this, where it's like all of you are wrong and I'm right. And it's just like any opinion I have on Cena is how I feel in that situation. I get so much negativity on my videos when I talk about Cena, which is fine. I don't care. I gotta tell people, I am in full character when I talk about wrestling on the internet because it's silly entertainment. So when I'm like trashing Cena or I'm trashing anything, I genuinely don't care what people think about my opinion. I'm full character, and that's like whatever. I'm not a heel, I'm not a face, as Cena says, but I just talk my mind, and I genuinely don't care if people think it's the worst opinion in the world. So your replies make me laugh.
Oh man, what's up, Megs? What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on Cena?
If you watch the first thing Punk said when he was alone in the ring, not this past week, the week before, he talks about his goal, what he wanted was taken from him. Then he's like, well, look, I've got a match apparently. That's not what I wanted, but maybe it gets me what I want. And then Paul said, what you're looking for is in the contract. I think it's good. They'll swing it, and it'll be because me and Yassine have been talking back and forth about this because he's a big wrestling guy, and we have this whole storyline planned out for the next year, basically. Anyways, but what's going to happen is Punk wins night one. By winning, it puts him in the triple threat for night two, and Punk wins the belt.
That'd be crazy.
And then that starts that starts this whole thing, and Cody now is not gone, but I mean, look, Punk is wrestling, right? Like me and Yasser, name me another wrestler who wasn't on any promo, wasn't part of a company or anything, but the fans chanted his name for 10 years.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That is like Muhammad Ali said it. That's crazy.
Yeah, so Punk needs to win the belt, and he was supposed to win it last year, let's be honest. But now they're like, all right, let's put him in this because this is perfect. You've got him and Cody nonsense, but more importantly, this gives us bad blood, which gives us the storyline back to Cena versus Punk.
Yeah.
The only issue I have with that is that it took us a full year for Cody to actually start getting good. Like, I have hated every rivalry that Cody has had. It's been very boring. This is the first rivalry of Cody where I actually feel like it puts Cody at, a good status, where he's, the white meat baby face that, the company needs.
I think this is going to keep going. I think this is, bloodline long. I think this is back and forth for a while, to be fair.
Maybe if keep it going. I don't want them to just ignore Cody. I feel like he's finally getting the people are saying Cody's been the most boring champion. And
that's Gunther. I mean, look, your first night ever on Netflix, you're not even there, and you don't have a match. I'm telling you right now, those titles are switching after WrestleMania. Jay's going to take the title and go to SmackDown, and then because Punk won the WWE Championship, him and Cody and John, you'll see them on Netflix all the time because that's where the money is, that's where the deal is, that's where everyone wants to have the bigger names. No one cares what the CW is doing.
So the thing with Cody, it's not really Cena versus Cody though, and that's been the story so far. Is that's what Cena keeps saying? This isn't about you. I'm not going to respond to you. It's about him and the relationship he has with the fans is what it's all about. And I think the interesting thing with Cody and Punk is they're both guys who left the company, went off to do other stuff, and then came back and got celebrated. Cena, he talked about, what made that promo exchange so good is they're getting to the root of it, of Cena going, I'm the guy who stuck it out. I've been here the whole time. I've put on show after show. I've won. I've done everything you needed of me, and you hate me. And this guy went off and, spent some other guy's money and then came crawling back and was handed the championship. And same thing with Punk. And that's why, I think, the greater rivalry here is Cena not feeling appreciated by the fans who are this double-sided thing of oh, well, we'll celebrate these guys for other reasons. even though they betrayed us, like Cody said, I gave my soul to this ring and these fans a long time ago. But he also gave it to another ring and another set of fans not that long ago either, right?
So it's funny you say that, because if you remember in the back and forth promo this past week, where there's a lot of room in the jorts apparently, that there's something key that we both, me and my buddy, kind of took from that, was him saying they don't know you like I know you. That there's an inner demon, or an inner thing inside of Cody.
Stardust.
So the Stardust, right? But the funnier part is, what if there's a quick pro quo that none of us know about, and Cody maybe low blows Cena, pins him, and really he did the deal with Rock behind our backs. He called him afterwards.
They never talked about that thing that The Rock whispered in his ear when he left the last time, right?
Yep.
Long-term storytelling. I don't know. Let's see what that's about.
But remember, Taker's always said it. He said, Cody's done great. He's really helped the company, all that stuff. But he said, when Cody goes heel, that will be the best version of Cody Rhodes WWE will see.
The Homelander Cody Rhodes that everybody's waiting for.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think that's happening soon, but I honestly could be wrong at any point. But I don't see after having Cena turn heel that you would then have Cody be the one who really took the. That's just convoluted. Like it's just
it is, but it's then there's this redemption of Cena, right? Like this guy turned his back on everybody, and for Cena's last year, he's just gonna. I think either way, Cody loses the belt. I think either way, Cody loses the belt. But I think either we see Cody turn and maybe lose the belt either way, or so. I just don't see him taking that belt home. Either Punk wins it or John wins it. Or the redemption. The redemption is Cena the entire time trying to fight back, and then Survivor Series, I guess, which is supposed to be his last pay-per-view, he wins the belt and gets the 17th title, but then vacates it the very next night, basically.
The only thing about that is that I feel like I'm going to take off my wrestling hat and my creative hat and put on my business hat, right, and my NBA hat, and to think about it, like what sells toys, what sells merchandise, and it's the Cody Rhodes, it's the white meat baby face that you can give every kid to be his hero because he's like the perfect guy. There's nothing wrong with him. He's not problematic. Every little kid can buy his stuff and feel good about it, right? And whereas like someone like CM Punk, Roman Reigns, the anti-heroes, they're a little bit more adult, but you're always going to need that character. You're always going to need a John Cena type, and Cody is going to take the reins of that. If not, who else is it going to be? Jay? Like, you need one person to do that because they are the ones who sell the merchandise. These belts, these T-shirts, they cost $2 and they go for $50. That's huge margins.
Yeah, but did any of them ever get free ice cream for everybody?
I mean, but does Cody have to be like the clean-cut hero to still sell the merchandise? Right? Like, I mean, it wasn't Stone Cold technically a heel going against the company, and he's sold the most in history? I don't know,
Stone
right?
Cold. Stone Cold's the everyday man. That's why it worked. It wasn't about him being like the very like. This is the thing. Like WWE like hones in on that because like yes, Hogan. It worked with Hogan, but they seem to forget that it also worked with Stone Cold, and he was not your clean cut. He was swearing to the boss, flipping him off, beating him up every week. You know who was doing that? Less, more PG version, but it was still Punk. Punk was literally doing the same thing. And when people got tired of Cena, Punk was what revitalized people's interest in wrestling.
Damn.
So I would love for Cody to have more dimensions in that way. And he has shown some, to be fair to him. He's not so clean cut, but it feels like with him, definitely they're going with that archetype. Megs, I find the Punk scenario really interesting. I would personally love it because Punk's my favorite.
Yeah.
So I would not complain about Punk winning the championship.
We were talking about them doing almost like, remember, the V word we're not allowed to say anymore in WWE, McMahon. how back in the day he had the ministry, basically, right? He had the corporation. We think maybe Rock is trying to form a new corporation, and whoever wins is going to be head of that. And it's like, well, who else would be there? And I'm like, Street Profits, Bianca Belair, because Bianca's getting screwed over left and right, and so are Street Profits. Then it's like, okay, well, who would they take for that other championship? And I'm like, boy, Seth turning.
Yeah,
and Seth would be in there. So it'd be like Seth and Cody would be your corporate guys. But then I'm like, I can't put both of them together.
Yeah, I think Seth and John makes more sense though. Like, especially since you already done the heel turn. You gotta at least milk it for a couple of months. Like, he can't start his redemption already.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta and it would work because I was talking about this with a friend of mine where Seth stomped Punk at Chamber, right? And like it just seemed so coincidental of like his feud with Punk.
Yeah.
What if it wasn't so coincidental? What if it was intentional to give Cena that win because he was promised by The Rock something greater, something more?
That's exactly what we talked about. It was like, what if so the third, the first night it ends up being like Roman screwing Seth somehow, right? Like Seth goes for the stomp and then Roman spears him. Roman gets up, go to sleep. And CM Punk wins. There's your triple threat for night 2. Seth, enraged, finds them, looks for everything, and then all of a sudden sees The Rock on the second night. And he's like, I got to talk to you about something. And then Seth comes out and stomps the shit out of Cody and Punk. And then there forms that. And I was like, ooh, I like that. We can walk with that. And then also, you want to talk about wrestlers that should be in this group? The overseen and over, The Miz. No one talks about the only other 2-time
The Miz is actually a really good choice.
Slam.
The Hollywood element of it too,
yeah.
See, the thing is, I haven't been watching wrestling for a while, so like my first introduction to The Miz was him and R-Truth getting tag champions. I don't know his lore and stuff like that.
The Miz is low key my favorite wrestler, probably.
Miz is
low key, I don't know. It's the thing of as someone who's been very casual with wrestling. Every time I come back and check in, or maybe watch a Raw or PLE here and there, the Miz has just always been a guy who's no, he's just been here and he's always putting in the work and he's always doing something good and he's always fun to watch. And I think he also is really good at hidden on the truth. We talked about with the whole Cena thing about the best stuff is when there's an element of truth to it. And I think he is uniquely just always hits in that way. I remember one time one of the things I saw was back when Daniel Bryan was managing SmackDown and he was tearing into the Miz. He's like, yeah, Miz, you don't put the work in for the fans. You don't put on a good show. You're really selfish. And then the Miz just tears into him and was like, no, it's screw you, man. I take care of myself because I care about the fans. I'm here so I can be here every week. I'm not getting injured every couple of months and have to take a year off. And it's ooh, that just bites so hard because, it's true. Daniel Bryan, the fans love him and he put his heart and soul and everything into it, but he kept getting hurt and had to leave him too, right?
Well, it was like Monday, right? At least I never got chanted that I can't wrestle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, everything that Cena was talking about him and he did is literally The Miz. The Miz literally was kicked out of the locker room at one point, and he worked consistently to get better at wrestling, at performing, and he has 8 Intercontinental Championship reigns. It's one less than the most. But there was a promo he did with Roman Reigns, to your point, Somberton. It was with Reigns and Cena, and he was like, oh, you think people are here for Reigns? You think people are here for Cena? And all the crowd booed at that. And he's like, but you know who that hurts? That hurts me, because as long as they get a reaction, I don't get the spotlight. They get the spotlight. He's yelling at the fans. So it was just Miz, he is he's incredible, and he's works so hard, but he'll never get the opportunities and the spotlight the way any of these main guys do. Not just Cena, but Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns. But he's constantly putting in good work.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
to
it's
your
so
point,
ironic
right?
because
It's to your point. The only two-time Grand Slam winners are Seth Rollins, who is loved and admired, and T-shirts sold, and on every single show, and The Miz, who we don't see ever.
Yeah.
yeah. And it's so ironic that his whole thing is being like his personality is like, oh, he's the selfish Hollywood guy. And that's like just so opposite from what he's actually doing. Like he hasn't abandoned everyone for Hollywood like so many other big wrestlers have. He's been there.
And him and Cena's rivalry back in the day was fire. I used to love those main events.
Yeah, I mean there was a whole they've had a few feuds, and they had one when Cena was more. I think it was like 2017. Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah. And it became Miz and his wife, Maurice, who's also a wrestler, versus Cena and Nikki, who, so it became a mixed tag match that culminated at WrestleMania. It's one of the sore spots because Cena and Nikki obviously went over, and then Cena proposed to Nikki at WrestleMania, and we know how that all went.
Wow.
So good use of TV time, but like there were moments. The funniest thing Miz and Maurice did, they did these skits where they were cosplaying as Cena and Nikki and like doing like very basically the stuff you see on Total Divas, Total Bellas and stuff, and they're like parodying that. And it's some of the funniest stuff ever because Miz would just play Cena as a robot as he kind of comes off. So it was just like he'd be like, Nikki, I love you. No, let me try that again. Nikki, I love you. Like it's just the funniest.
Man, Total Divas was crazy for like the insight you get on Cena from that show. I mean, like whatever. Reality TV is faker than wrestling.
I would
but
know.
Again,
no,
it's like
Neebz knows reality TV. It's not
I would know.
yeah, but like it's the thing of like, oh, like the elements of truth you can kind of like garner from there. It's like, oh, this guy is like really controlling, like not like controlling necessarily of like in like a relationship way of just like, oh, he needs to be in control of everything. Everything needs to be in his perfect spot, like almost like an OCD thing.
Yeah, OCD,
and it's like it's in that pursuit of perfection. And getting back to like the whole Rollins angle, like my whole thought after Elimination Chamber was like, oh, well, that's going to be the like next show they're going to reveal that was the deal, that like Cena had already like made the deal with The Rock that Rollins would interfere to give him the win, and that's why he betrayed Cody, or like everything happened. But to me, I just think about it, I'm like, oh well, like why would he make the deal at that point? It doesn't make sense to me, except for unless the storyline becomes he was already shook, like he already doubted himself. Like he goes, oh, I lost the Rumble to Jey Uso. Like Jey Uso in the last minute knocked me. I had it. I could have done it. And like he just doubted himself. He's like, oh, for all his bluster of like I need to get this shot and elevate wrestling and set the new record so people can like go beyond it. He's like, oh, I don't think I can do it. And so that was the deal with the devil, is like him accepting, I don't think I can do this. And for a guy who is so committed to perfection like that, I'm like, that could be an angle to explore of like what broke him there.
Yeah, would have been great. I love the idea.
Oh man, it would have been great.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like they're gonna get there, but like, I don't like that they just conveniently forget things for weeks until they get to the point where they want to do something. Like Neebz, you've been watching for what, 2 years now? I think it is.
Yeah.
Right. So like, we talked about this. I think after Mania last time, I probably would say of like, oh, they're gonna set up like Bloodline versus Bloodline storyline, right? But like, we didn't see that till like maybe 2 months till before. They had like 6 months of time, and then only 2 months before War Games were like, oh right, Jay's got to like make up with Roman. And I was like, what are you doing? Why didn't you start this back at like SummerSlam or something?
It was so rushed, and it never really felt like satisfied because like Roman never owned up to anything. He never apologized. They just like agreed to help him again. It was just so bad.
Yeah, and that's what I feel like, to your point, you were talking about, like, your concerns, like, that's what I'm worried it's going to happen with the Cena thing, right? Because like they gave us this heel turn. The moment itself is amazing. Like, take out all the context of like my brain of like thinking about like why, you know, like it doesn't make sense. The moment is amazing. Like the brutality of the beatdown and everything. The moment itself, like, oh wow, like they did it. They went with it. But then the follow through so far has been kind of rocky. This week was pretty solid, but overall, like he's been, so that's 3 times he's shown up now in what, like 5 or so weeks. Like it's just, it's not together, you know. It just
I'm hoping
I think
once they're out of Europe and they come back to the States.
maybe but he's going to Europe to do it too. That's the really.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like it's been big because it's shocking, right? And and shock's great, especially in wrestling. But to make this story have longevity, it has to be something that, like, oh, when you tell people about this, like, you're weaving a saga. And when I went into work the Monday after Chamber, I was like, oh my God, you won't believe this, to my buddy who cares nothing about wrestling. Cena went heel, and he's like, okay, what does that mean? And I explained it to him. He's like, he went back. He's never gone heel before, and it's huge. He's like, okay, why did he go heel? And I'm like, I don't know. I'll find out tonight, maybe. And then it's like, the further we get into it, right? And I'm like, okay, why did he do it? And why did he do it now? And it's like, oh, he's mad at the fans. And it's like, oh, were the fans like booing him all the time? It's like, I mean, like years ago they were, but like recently they've kind of been like, it's like, you know, he's become this meme, and he's like, they're cheering him on, and he's going to retire. So people kind of were on his side, actually. So it's a little weird that now's the breaking point. And it's like we have
something you mentioned that was really funny to me was the fact that heel turn is now in like common day vernacular, which is so weird to me. Like there's girls on the internet talking about bad breakups and how it was their heel turn. I'm just like, what this is. They have nothing to do with wrestling. They don't even know what it is. Yeah. It's kind of like how Spider-Man came up with Spider-Verse came up with, this is your canon event. Like heel turn is like in people's vernacular now, and it's so funny to me.
Yeah.
One of the gaming podcasts I follow has like just a real maniac about wrestling on it, and he has slowly like corrupted their terminology into like they just use wrestling shoot. So like shoot is just like a common word they use, gimmick, like all of that, and it started off like kind of ironic, but now they all just genuinely use it. So it's like entering my vernacular too.
I use botch regularly, Like if I drop a plate, I'm like, damn it, I botched. Like I use it for random things. I'll watch sports or whatever. Just like I don't call it a mess up or a flub. I'm just like, oh, what a botch, dude. Like, what are you doing? Like for a lot of wrestling fans, at least, like my friends and I, we tend to use these terms like in regular non-wrestling. I made a whole video about it. Funny enough, I was just like different scenarios where wrestling fans like talk about non-wrestling things with wrestling terms. And it's fun, but it is cool to see that more and more people are engaging with it. I think that's like my favorite thing. Like I said, I'm so deep in it that sometimes I do like it helps to talk to Neebz or like see other wrestling fans that are a bit more casual, or Somberton even. I'm just like, oh yeah, wrestling's supposed to be fun. Like I try to do that like reality check. Just like, dude, that's why I don't take it seriously when I talk about it online, because I'm just like, I don't care. Like, if you think I'm an idiot because I said Cena was bad for the company, I don't care. That's my opinion. It's wrestling. At the end of the day, it means so little to like the greater world. Like, and like, it's funny. I'm talking about this with my friend, but another thing with Cena, I realized, because some people were upset because, well, understandably so, but they showed that package of El Grande Americano, and it said the Gulf of America in the map that they showed. So people were like, oh my God, like wrestling, I don't like when it gets political. And it made me think about the fact that Cena became a babyface in like 04, 05, right?
Yeah.
But like 05 was when he became champion, and then he kind of took on this U.S. Patriot persona because he filmed the Marine, right?
Yeah.
And so
he announced when Bin Laden was assassinated to the crowd that night.
Yeah, But
Which is
05
just great. They're like, we got to get Cena to do it.
He's never been in the
05,
Army ever.
what I recently realized was 0506, or like recently connected the dots, was 0506 is when Cena gets big, and at the same time, U.S. support for the terror that they're committing in the Middle East is waning.
Yeah.
So like you're pushing this patriot character, but people are starting to get sick of the U.S.
Yeah.
And so that also contributes to why people aren't as like keen on Cena, right? And then he's winning constantly. So you're pushing this idea that Cena and the U.S. are like the best, while we're literally like endlessly sending soldiers over, seas, and like whether it's because you don't like that the soldiers are going, or that you don't like that innocent people are being harmed, whichever side of the aisle people are on about it. Because obviously there are these like patriots who are like, oh wow, we're sending soldiers, being like, we're like, why are you killing people on the other side? But like either way, disillusionment with the U.S. is occurring during this time. Yeah. And then he's just winning. So now people are getting more tired of it because you're just pushing this idea, which is also why his promo fell flat for me, because everything he said about Cody was literally him. And Cody called it out, sure, but like it's delusional. And maybe they're going with that angle. Maybe that's the angle, is like Cena's just so like warped in his mind, because everything he said is either applicable to him or just not applicable anymore, right? So maybe, but like him complaining about, oh, like you were company made, I'm like, and Cody said it, you literally were the chosen one. You literally were determined to be the only guy that was going to be pushed. And when he talked about the whole like mediocrity thing, I was like, you can't tell me Punk is mediocre. You can't tell me Bray Wyatt is mediocre, or Sami Zayn or Kevin. Like all these people that maybe not he specifically. I don't want to give him all the heat because obviously at the end of the day it's Vince. But all the people that went up against him and then he ultimately went over on, but a lot of them weren't mediocre, but he was just determined to be the guy that they're going to force down our throats. So it's just a weird promo to hear from the guy who literally was in the position.
In the other perspective, I did like the fact that they did feel like two sides of the same coin. Because he called him like a company man, but he called him a nepo baby. Like I felt like it's like they both made good points.
Yeah.
The part that I thought was kind of funny though is when Cody calls him out. It's like, oh, you were put here by Vince. That's who made you what you are. And Cena's response is like, well, yeah, I was made by a billionaire, but you wasted a billionaire's kid's money or whatever. And I'm like, I mean, that's kind of bonus points for Cody to me. Like, wasting billionaires' money sounds great. Like, I don't think that's the slap back you thought it was.
Right. I thought both of them had, like, okay. I don't think either one was, like, so, like, damaging, in my opinion. Like, I don't think either of them really cooked in that way of, like, the other person got buried or something. Yeah. I thought they made points, but overall I was just like, I don't know, just the material didn't work for me, which is fine. But, like, I just think there's so much you could do with Cena, especially with the whole taking the title situation, because he's getting booed for that, right? Like, he says it and people are booing him. Meanwhile, when he lost the title to CM Punk and CM Punk walked out of the company, people cheered for CM Punk, and CM Punk left the company for 10 years, and people, like Meg said, are cheering for him for 10 years. Meanwhile, still booing Cena during a lot of this time. I feel like the real story should have been, the heel turn should have happened with, like, Punk and Cena versus Cody and Cena. Just, like, based on what the material they're giving, I was just like, oh, this is, like, a perfect parallel. Like, I am saying I'm going to leave, and you're booing me, but when the other guy said it, you were happy. Well, like, do you not see your clear hypocrisy? Then I'll be like, okay, I don't agree with it, but I get your point is way more valid with that.
That makes sense, but I do feel like Cody needs this more. Like, he needs this rivalry more than Punk does. Punk can 100% have beef with anybody. Like, he could have beef with, like, Bianca Belair, and it'll be the best beef of the year.
Punk can have beef with the turnbuckle. It'll be amazing.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I'm just saying the material that they've given us would fit more with Punk, in my view. Like, I agree. Cody needs this, and like, Punk's proven he, like you said, we all said he can have a feud with literally anybody. So like, give him a referee feud and he'll kill it. But like, Cody does need, and it makes sense, right? He is the guy, like Cena was the guy. So all the parallels are there. To your point, Neebs, as well, of like, they're saying things that are like opposite sides of the same coin where it works that way. I just think with Cena set up prior to this promo, it doesn't align with the Cody element. Like, they're trying to put in a lot into this story, whereas like, I think they should have kind of segmented it and compartmentalized it and made these separate things.
An angle I thought early on could have been interesting. I don't know if it would have worked like long term, but is what if instead of like Cena hating Cody, what if it was like a tough love situation where he's like, no, you are just me again. Like, you're doing the same bit. You're the American guy. You're the hero. You're the champion. And look at what they did to me. Look at the way they treated me. He's like, if you beat me and become this like great champion, they're just going to turn on you and destroy you just like they did to me. Yeah. So in his like twisted logic, he's like, I have to destroy you to save you, Cody, actually. Whoa. And that plays into the whole like, hey, why he doesn't respond to Cody, because he's like, I'm doing this for you, Cody, actually. It's not me versus you, it's us versus them. They supported you when you left and came back too, and like all that stuff, but like, you know, once they get tired of you, once you stop being a fun new toy, they'll chuck you out too.
That's a good point. That would be a great, I like that actually.
I would like that. They could even say like, oh yeah, you get your woes, but like, who's the top seller? Jey Uso. He's the flavor of the month. The yeet, right?
Yeah,
like,
he's the Daniel Bryan, right? Like,
yeah, oh yeah.
He's the guy who like, oh, you're the
God.
champion. And
the heat that would get if he just got him the Daniel Bryan would be amazing.
Yeah.
That's so good. Yeah, I just think there were like a lot of really interesting directions they could have gone, and I feel like what they've given us so far, maybe it plays out differently. And like to Somberton's point of like, when it's all done, you can say like, oh wow, look at this great story that they told through X amount of, you know, this year. But like, just the way it's playing out right now is very weird, and I just don't see the direction. And I don't think it makes sense. I'm always going to say that, you know, until I feel differently. I don't think it makes sense.
Fair.
Yeah, I think it sells itself, right? Like, and it's like they're not putting the effort into it because I know, like, it's like they were in the writers' room when like, okay, and then Cena turns heel. Done. We don't need to do anything for weeks. We can coast on that. Right?
Yeah.
Right? That's what it feels like. And I posted a video a couple weeks ago about how it just felt like Cena's initial promo. It's like, did he actually write this 10 years ago when they were first considering a heel? It feels irrelevant to now, which in a way makes you just feel like this isn't connected to the current story. It's just, you know, something they had lying around.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. And like, I don't know if you were in the chat when I said this earlier, but it's like they give us these big moments and then they kind of like retroactively tie it all together and be like, hey, look at this great meal we cooked up. And I was like, no, like weeks went by and nothing happened. You know, like another great example is the New Day heel turn. What have they done with that?
Nothing. Yeah,
that hurts.
Yeah, so much heat on
that. That hurts. Why'd they do that to Big E?
Yeah. But it's also the truth, like, you had this big moment, and not only did you turn them heel, you turned them heel in the most disgusting way possible, which garnered them heat, and now I guess maybe they're going to fight for the tag titles, but for the past 2 months or whatever, they were feuding with the LWO, who, no disrespect to any of them, because I like Dragon Lee, I love Ray, but they're like bottom of the barrel competitors in the, you know, like totem pole.
Yeah. Same thing with the Wyatts. Like, what happened to them? They haven't been on TV for like months.
Yeah, I think from what I heard, Uncle Howdy is injured. About Bo Dallas, he's injured or something. Okay. But I don't get why you can't just still have him like cut promos and do spooky stuff. You know, like, yeah. But like, this is their problem. They're not like, I made a video. I think it's like a month or two ago now about like WWE doesn't actually do long-term storytelling. Like, there's no consistency with the storytelling. They'll, to Somberton's idea, I think they do have points. They're like, okay, at WrestleMania, this thing is going to happen. At SummerSlam, this thing is going to happen. At Survivor Series, this thing is going to happen. Then it's going to end at WrestleMania. Like, they just plot out those big moments. And then all the in-between stuff, they're like, just have them beat each other up for 8 weeks straight and then do the pull-apart brawl over and over again. And I'm like, bro, I don't need to see another pull-apart brawl. Like, it was just...
A great example of that is the Jade, Cargill, and Naomi thing. Like, that took forever. We could have had that happen a lot more condensed.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't do anything with it for weeks because maybe, like, Jade's injury was indefinite. Like, maybe they didn't know how long it would take. But, like, then they just ignored it until, I guess, she was medically cleared. And then they're like, oh, let's build up now. And I'm like, easy thing you could have done. You show that, you do that scene of, like, seeing, you know, Liv and Raquel in the backs, you know, like, by the ambulance, and throw in a few more characters, and then have Bianca and Naomi go on like a Sherlock Holmes situation of, like, just questioning, trying to find every person that's in that scene. Like, oh, was it you, Chelsea? Chelsea, you were there. Like, was it you? And then they feud for like 2 weeks. Oh no, okay, find out it wasn't her. Okay, now we go to Liv and Raquel. Find out it's not them. We go to this person. Like, you could have done something to keep people's minds fresh with, like, oh right, Jade's injured, and, like, these people who are her best friends supposedly care so much they're just gonna, like, beat up the entire roster until they find out who it is. But instead it was, like, forgotten for 3 months, and then the last month they're like, oh yeah, Raquel and Liv. No, not like Raquel and Liv. Like, it's just, it's not good story. That's why I was saying I have to remind myself this is lowest common denominator type of entertainment. And so, like, they're not going to be consistently writing, like, a story that goes week to week.
I feel that way with a lot of them. Like, I feel like there's bad booking and there's bad storytelling, and sometimes it's a combination of two. Like with Jay, I'm like, you have a good story, but you're booking it terribly, where it's like no one's invested in this anymore. And then you have, like, the Tiffany and Charlotte. There's bad storytelling and bad booking, and it's like no one cares. The two, like, Royal Rumble winners, no one cares about.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was thinking it's, like, ironic they haven't embraced more of that, like, weekly ongoing storytelling. Like, they're still stuck in this, like, oh, we're writing for the pay-per-view, and, you know, the weekly shows are just, you know, filler between them. Because, like, with the move to Netflix, you'd think that would be the time they would go, oh yeah, now people can, like, most people watching this can, like, pick this up whenever, and they can, like, fit it into their lives better. And if they miss a show, you know, they can skim through it instead of having to just wait for the next show to air on TV and get the, like, and get the replay of it, the recap.
The only place I feel like they're doing a good job at that is the Io Sky, Bianca Belair, and Rhea Ripley, because a lot of the stuff is happening on Raw. Like the title change happened on Raw, the referee match happened on Raw. Like, a lot of these things are happening right in front of us, and that storyline is still going, and that has potential to be like a PLE match. So that's the only one where I feel like they're actually progressing.
Yeah, I agree with that point, that they at least are being consistent with the storytelling of it. I have issues with the storytelling of it, but, like, you know, I feel like I come off as such a, like, hater of this product, but, like, I really do love it. I just feel like WWE they're just coasting, I feel, you know, like, there's so much more they could do. Like, I don't like that they're portraying Io as, like, a third wheel.
Yeah.
That's how it feels to me, and I feel like that's not what you should be doing with your champion. There was literally a video I just saw someone posted it on Reddit. It was a TikTok, but they were like, "This story is the epitome of white woman privilege." And I was like, actually, that's kind of accurate.
Yeah.
That was funny. Someone requested to come up there, but I don't know if they're here. I think they might be on pause. But yeah, I don't know. What other cards are out there right now that we should be paying attention to? Because I feel like a lot of them don't have a lot of attention to them. Like, everything is about Cody and Cena, and then the triple threat.
Yeah, those are like the real selling points for the show, honestly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's something else. Really, no one else. I feel like.
Like even the Jay Gunther segment, it was a good segment this past week where like he brutalized Jimmy. I just feel like you could have done that literally like the night after Chamber or something, or Rumble, or like they had even longer, right? Like at least with the Cena thing, it's like only been since Chamber. They've been going since Rumble, Jay and Gunther, and like until this week, nothing really happened.
Wow.
Jay was fighting.
Yeah, it's just
A-Town Down Under.
The same basic thing of like, oh, we'll have a match, and then the other guy will come in and attack him, and then it's like going back to when I was watching. One of the big things was Cena versus Rusev.
Oh,
another,
God.
European opponent who would just like come in and take him down, and it's like, oh, there wasn't really a build up there. It was just like they kept going back and forth. And I can't beat him. He's too strong. But then, the day of, I found the strength and beat him.
Yeah.
It would be so much more interesting if they actually just let Jay get squashed. It's like, you could. It's like because it's like right now the story just feels so predictable that if you subverted it, it would be kind of like, oh wow, you just pissed off a lot of people at WrestleMania.
That would be true.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it gives you the opportunity to like really have Jay explore himself and like, oh wow, okay, I'm like you put him at the bottom, right? Because of that loss, he puts himself at the bottom, and then he has to actually fight to get his way back up. But like, I feel like that's too complicated of a story for WWE to actually tell.
It's also like funny because it's like, oh man, main event Jey Uso's main event at WrestleMania isn't even really the main event anymore. It's just like, it's like I've come so far, but like not really. It's like this isn't the match people care about. Like now because it's the triple threat is like the main one that night now, right?
I'm pretty
I
sure.
haven't looked at it. Yeah, because I saw people like talking about how like, it's like they kind of just came in and overshadowed him just because it's like, they've been doing the same generic back and forth storyline.
Yeah.
And it gets boring.
Yeah, it's because it's only though like so there's Cena Cody, there's the women's two women's title matches, Charlotte and Tiffany, which whatever. Then there's Io Bianca Rhea, Jay Gunther, and then apparently the triple threat with Punk, Rollins, Reigns. Too many names, man. And then, like I said, I think it's confirmed it's AJ Styles versus Logan Paul, which I don't care about.
Yeah, the thing is, like, I get Logan Paul is pretty good, but like I think his material in promos has been going stale because when he had the Elimination Chamber, everybody cooked except for Logan Paul. When like Cena came out, Damian Priest was there. Drew McIntyre was there. Everybody was going after everybody, and they were cooking. Then Logan Paul comes out with the John Cena thing, and I was like, oh, that's good. That was good. They got everybody. But then he started speaking, and I was like, oh, none of this is hitting.
Yeah, he's just saying first of all, he's saying the same thing he's probably been saying now for however many years he's been with the company.
Yeah.
But it's just like, it's generic. It's similar. You're like, oh yeah, I'm like the promo he did with AJ. I was actually also annoyed that AJ wasn't like, yeah, you're right. I didn't come from this fame world. He's like, I'm a Southern boy. I worked hard. Hands in the dirt kind of mentality, energy. Like, I wish he kind of gave more of that, like, just as, like, a blue-collar kind of type of energy. But, like, AJ's he's not bad, but he's also not, like, the greatest on the mic either, personally. But Logan's material is just like, yeah, I'm cool. I'm the big shot. I'm rich. I'm famous. So I was just like, bro, he said it. Nobody cares. But, like, even that is a weak rebuttal to me. I'm just like,
Yeah, I'm getting a little bored of it. Though I do feel like his matches are pretty good, but I am getting bored of it.
Like, I would have, and like, Neebz, you know how I feel about this guy, but I would have preferred AJ versus Braun Breaker for the IC title. That would have been a really good spot for Braun, and because like AJ is one of the best wrestlers, so like having Braun like really test his mettle, as they like to say, at WrestleMania against one of the best would have been a good way to like make the IC title mean something.
Yeah.
But now maybe it's going to be Braun versus Dom.
I would have because they're talking about it was Braun, Finn, and someone else. I forget who else, but yeah, if it's Don, that might be crazy. Imagine Dom with the IC title.
I wouldn't be opposed, honestly. I mean, if it's between Braun and Dom, yeah, I'm choosing Dom 100%, honestly. But
I do like the fact that they're starting to make some moves on the whole Judgment Day, because that's been going stale for a while too. Now it looks like they're finally going to break them apart, and it's going to be Liv that does it. So I am looking forward to like they're finally moving on that, because that was getting stale.
Yeah, and I mean, this is what they do. They like tease it for far too long, right? Like they teased it with Damian and Finn for a while, and then finally, like once the time had passed, then they're like, "Oh, now's the time to do it." Like this is the thing. Yes, Vince used to be a little too short term, like he'd end things too quickly, or he wouldn't let stories breathe. But Triple H, it's like he lets it run far too long. It just keeps going and going. And I'm like,
Just the fact that he lets it run too far, it's almost like he forgets about them, and they're just like, yeah, do your own thing until we get back to you, and there's no direction.
Yeah, where I'm just like, dude, like the Judgment Day honestly should have broken up like shortly after Damian won the championship. Like I think the entire group should have split up, right? Like you do the whole thing of like the group thinks he's too big for them, Damian turns face, and that just they slowly then just kind of like separate. Like there was just no need to keep Rhea was she turned face, so she separated as well. Like you lost your two big names. No disrespect to Finn, but he's just not a big name anymore, sadly. So like he feels very lackey status, and he's felt that way for a while.
Makes sense.
But I don't even know what other matches you put on this show. Like,
well, the thing is, like one of the big, like last year, for most of last year, the biggest star was Jacob Fatu, and now he's like nowhere to be found. Just doing matches with like Braun Strowman and LA Knight.
yeah, I mean, I would love for him to take the U.S. title.
Yeah.
I mean, I know he's on SmackDown, but like him versus Braun would be great for the IC title. My gosh. But like, yeah, there's nothing going on with them.
Yeah, that was like the thing I said when I first entered chat is like, oh, I'm looking forward to WrestleMania, but I'm not as excited as I want to be. Like, I just don't know what to get amped for. It's like, yeah, the Cody Cena, because that's like the main thing. And yeah, I've liked honestly, I think as someone who just got back in the last few months, I think the women's wrestling has been the thing that has been most consistent for me. Like you were saying with like how, at least in the weekly shows, there's back and forth and title changes. So I'm looking forward to I didn't finish Raw. Is it a triple threat now?
Yeah.
Or like it's Io Sky and I don't know. Okay.
It's not official, but it's going to be official.
Okay, yeah, I haven't finished it yet, so I didn't see how that was off. Like, yeah, I've been looking forward to it.
The other
The
other thing I feel like something they totally ignored. Like I totally forgot Lyra Valkyria even has the IC title. I was like, who is this?
Yeah, I mean,
I forget about. I'm like, oh, they have a women's IC title. That's great.
No, yeah, I knew it. So when they announced it, I was like, this is gonna end up like the men's IC and US titles. So like, what are we cheering for? Like the women aren't doing anything with it. I messaged Neebz about this specifically. I appreciate what Chelsea is doing. At least she's like tying in a gimmick to the championship concept. So she's she's president or whatever, like she's champion. The Hervis.
I've liked her.
Well, like I've made it clear, I wasn't really a fan of Chelsea, but I'm appreciating what she's doing and enjoying it a lot. And so I appreciate that, and that like she's trying to make the U.S. title mean something. but like they're not doing anything with it, you know. Like, and I want to tie this to Cena's promo because he was like, "Oh, I take whatever I was given and make it good," which A, isn't true. B, other people have done that and they've been punished for it. Like, there have been wrestlers who have gotten over on their own, and then the company actively either punishes them or just doesn't push them. And so I'm like, you can't talk this nonsense of like, oh, like I'm the one who I took stuff and made it great. I was like, but you were afforded the opportunity to do that. Like, there are wrestlers who literally were top merch sellers with barely being on television. And then the company just continued to not push them. So then people lose interest if they're not going to be continued to be featured. Like, whose fault is that? Is it the wrestlers for the getting over? No, it's the company for not pushing them. Like, it's so stupid. The whole promo
is that there's not enough wrestling like days. Like maybe they need another, like, you know how we have SmackDown, we have
we don't need more wrestling.
We need less wrestling.
Dude.
Like, I was gonna say, I think like actually Cena's threat to take away the title, that better be a promise, because there needs to be less of those things. I can't keep up with it.
Yes.
I don't know what the big one is.
You're right.
Right?
No, yeah. First of all, there's not even enough wrestling as with all the time they have. Somehow, there's not enough wrestling because, like, as I was finishing up Raw, I was like, I think there were three matches I think on Raw this week, which is insane in a 2.5 hour show. 4 matches. There were 4 matches. Whatever, 4 or 5 still is in a 2.5 hour show is ridiculous. And that's if it was once in a while, I'd be like, fair enough, you know, like you got these big stories to push, so that's why. But like, that's been the norm, especially since they've gotten to Netflix, where it's just like.
But it's also because like they're in Europe and they need like 20 minutes for the audience to just scream Cody Rhodes.
So annoying. Like, I get it, it's your show, you get to have fun, but I'm just like, the chants get tiresome, and then like, thank goodness they stopped having Jay come out and do his entrance for 20 minutes though.
Oh my god, that was.
It's so funny to me that Jey Uso is what he is today. Like, that was the biggest shock to me coming back in, being like, oh yeah, Jey Uso, he's one of the Usos. I like those guys. It's like, people are freaking out. What happened? What did he do?
He had one thing, but people just are into it.
Well, that's the thing, is like, the thing that got him over, they've just dropped that completely. Because like, the thing that got him over wasn't the Yeet stuff. That got him like to the next level, but like, the reason people even cared to do the Yeet with him was because they gave him an emotional connection to the fans with what he went through with Roman, and then him and Sammy, and him and Jimmy. And then, like, they didn't bother to capitalize on that by giving him emotional stories post leaving the bloodline. They were just like, okay, he's over now. Now we don't have to do anything else. We can just have him yeet. And I'm like, no, like, you build on that. You continue to grow that, and you'll get more money. Like, you'll actually get more money if you make these people want to see them get beat up more. Like, if you like overcome the odds more, I should say. And they don't. Maybe it's just because they're making so much money as is, they don't care to do that. But I'm like, but that's literally the point of wrestling. So it's just like, why would you not capitalize on that? It's just,
you need to grow these people for longevity, because there's only so many John Cena's you can have.
Yeah. And like, they've done an okay job like, you can name a good number of people on the roster right now who are like very over with the fans, versus like back in like 2010, you couldn't. Genuinely, there were so few people that were getting like these consistent loud reactions that people are now. But so it's good. There is more like, there's been given more room at the top to have like a group of people versus one person. Yeah. But it's just more,
I mean, like, kind of going on that, like I joke around about how it's so like such a shock to me that Jey Uso is where he's at, but it's also because like I'm just fresh back on board, you know, and I haven't seen why he is this yet. Like, they haven't given him a chance to demonstrate why people love him. And it's like when I was first, 10 years ago getting back into wrestling, and it's like, ooh, I knew people loved Daniel Bryan, and the yes was a thing. And I'm like, ooh, why is that? And then it's like I was able to figure it out from watching it, be like, oh, I get why people love this. Even Cena, who like I knew people hated during that USA run, like you said, when people started to turn around on him, I could see like, oh, this is like why this guy is at this level. Because one day he came out and people were doing the Cena sucks thing, and then he got on the mic and he went into like a kind of like generic thing about never giving up and whatever, and he was engaging with the crowd. But like he turned the crowd around and they started cheering him by the end, and I was like, oh, I get why this guy is here. Like he can do stuff like this. That's kind of incredible. Like this is impressive. With Jay, I haven't really like seen like why he's so magnetic yet. He comes out and he does the yeet thing, and I'm like, that's awesome. But I don't get like why the fans have done it yet. And so far, like the only story they've done with the Gunther thing is he's like, oh, I think you're a joke. And Jay's like, oh, am I just a joke? I don't know if I believe in myself enough to beat you. Yeah. Oh, I lost again. Which is like a good enough storyline, but it's like, where's the, like, what is it? Where is it? Like, demonstrate his strengths better. Don't just have him, like, if you just treat him like a joke, he's just going to be a joke, right?
Yeah.
Right. Like, it's a really fine line to walk with this Gunther Jay storyline, similar to the EO story, because it's like, Gunther's saying he's a joke, and then you're also kind of presenting him as a joke by, like, botching moves.
Yeah. Okay,
whether intentionally or happening on.
Have you guys watched Community?
Yeah, I haven't.
Okay. So from my perspective, right now, Jey Uso is magnitude. Like he just shows up, he goes pop pop, and everyone's like, "Yeah, we love magnitude." And it's like, "Oh, this guy just came out of nowhere. Well, what's his deal?" And then he just goes pop pop, and everyone loves him and cheers. Like that's where I'm at with Jey Uso.
He's Steve Urkel.
Here's the thing about Jey Uso. Yeah. They did the same thing about Cody Rhodes. You take away his music, and what do you have? Because Jey Uso's entrance, I'm not gonna lie, me and Nav went to SmackDown. That was the most hype the audience was the entire night. The way it was like electric. He wasn't even on the card. He was in a dark match, and that was the most the freaking audience popped. It was for Jay, his music, and him coming out and doing all that stuff. So, like, in a live event, it's a lot of fun, but on TV, it doesn't hit the same way.
Yeah. Oh, like, I'm sure, like, it's great and electrifying. Like, it's like, I want to be on board with it, right? It's just like, I think I don't think the current programming has given him the opportunity he deserves to showcase, like, why he is that way and how he got there.
Yeah.
What you said, Somberton, is huge because I think most wrestling fans in general want to be on board with what the company is doing. Like, maybe not no one, but like, I feel comfortable saying the vast majority of people are not tuning in to hate on the product. They want to be invested. They want to be taken for a ride. And it just feels like, especially right now where it's your WrestleMania season, biggest time of the year, what ride have they taken us on with any of these stories? Like, I guess Punk Rollins Roman is the most, at least to me, the most compelling, but even then, I'm just like, it's iffy in some parts, like I just, the way Roman it was just weird. The way Roman inserted himself into the cage match and it's just all predictable, right? Like you were saying, like, it's hard to look at the card and be like, there's very few matches that I'm like, I don't know who wins, or like the outcome, even if I don't know the outcome, it's hard to find it satisfying, right? Because like the Io Bianca Rhea match, for instance, like Io just won the title, so if she loses, now I'm like, okay, so she won the title just so she could be in the match, right? And then like if Rhea wins, she just had the title for a while. I don't want her to have it again. And if Bianca wins, like, okay, then great, I'm happy with that. But again, what was the point of Io being in? So it's just like, there's no fully satisfying conclusion to a lot of these stories.
Yeah. I also think, like, when I joke around about like taking away the titles too, like having less of them, I think a lot of times they just fall into this. Well, the story here is the character wants the title.
Yes.
And like that's it, right? And it's like that only goes so far to be a compelling narrative. It's just like, and when they have so many titles, they're just so often falling into the like, okay, the story here is just two people want it because they want it. It's not even like the main title. It's like one of these like weird middle titles we've created because we want more titles. And it's just like, I don't know why. It's like, I don't know why this belt is so important to you at this point. And I think there could be stronger narratives around a lot of that too.
Yeah, I mean, look at the main the men's championship matches, right? The title isn't even relevant. Like the title is not the main thing, really.
Well, the thing people are excited for is not even for a title. It's the Rollins Punk Reigns match, right? And it's like we don't have, I feel like, enough of that kind of storytelling in the like, I don't like the Cody Cena stuff, even though they're starting to like, pick it up and like get heat between them. It's like, I don't really get why these two hate each other, except for they need to hate each other because they're both going for the belt.
Right. And like but like your point about like the Rollins Punk Reigns triple threat is so important because it's like, you can tell a story with someone holding a championship and someone chasing it, but like, okay, I guess a recent example is the Kevin Owens Cody Rhodes feud, right? Like, yeah, Kevin wanted the championship, but he also really just wanted to like end Cody Rhodes' whole career. Like that was really ambitious, and like I cared about that because like I'm a Kevin Owens fan, and I wanted to see, like, I was invested in his reasoning and things like that, Or Sami Zayn going after it is to prove that he is like just as good as Gunther, right? Like the championship is a statement that like, yes, you are as good, but the championship itself isn't relevant to make a story compelling. Like it doesn't.
Yeah, that I think that's what I was trying to say. That's a better way of putting it.
Yeah, and like, but your point is correct that too often they're just like, oh yeah, okay, the championship is why these two people fighting matter, when it's usually the secondary, if not the tertiary reason, because people care more about like, oh, these two hate each other. Like Punk and McIntyre had a year-long feud and it had nothing to do with it. Like it was catalyzed by a championship thing, but like it was just these two like
hating each other.
It was on site for them, and that's what we cared about.
Yeah, it's like kind of like the litmus test I have is like, how will I explain this to my coworker who doesn't know or care about wrestling, right?
Right.
And if the story is just like, well, this one guy had the title and he wanted to keep it, and another guy really wanted the title because he just wanted the title, it's like that's not a compelling story. But if I'm like, oh, like kind of what they're trying to do with the Gunther Jay thing is like, oh, well, Gunther, like he said, like, no, he thinks like the title means that you are a professional, like you represent the company, you got to take it seriously, and he thinks Jay shouldn't even have like a shot because he's just a jokester and a disgrace, but Jay wants to, prove that he's more than that, and like, and that this can be more. It's like, oh, it's like that's compelling. That's the story.
What I'm saying, like the story is compelling. The booking is what's hurting it.
Yeah. I mean, like they should have had pretty much everything they've done in the last 2 or 3 weeks should have been right from the jump after Rumble, right? So like Jay has a celebration and Gunther beats him down, right? And just like rubs in his face like, okay, congrats, but like you can't beat me. I've beaten you 3 times or 4 times, whatever it is. And then you have Jay for the first month after Rumble kind of go on like a bit of a losing streak, right? Where he loses like against first like a high quality opponent, and then he starts to lose to like lower card guys. Where it's like, dang, I can't even beat Grayson Waller, who's just this loudmouth Aussie dude. Like, who cares, right? But it's like, yeah, he's slipping, he's botching, or whatever it is, but he's losing. He's losing to Grayson Waller. He's losing to freaking, I can't think of someone on a lower on the card. Whatever. Doesn't matter. You get what I'm saying. And now you're like, oh, shoot. wow, he's really having like issues of doubt. Like he's really questioning his capabilities, that he's losing to these guys. Like that's not a good look. And then he has that speech with Jimmy, but it still isn't enough. But you want to know what would be enough? Is that one is the night after, or like the night before WrestleMania or whatever, the Raw before Mania. He's like off a loss, and he's backstage, and he turns around, and Roman Reigns is there, and Roman gives him the speech of like, "There's a reason I picked you. There's a reason I said you're the right-hand man, the main event, Jey Uso. Like, what are you doing?" And Roman's the one that, like, then you tie in the family element to it of, like, geez, this man, all he's wanted from Roman for the past 5 years was that approval, was that, like, genuine admiration and respect. And now he's giving it to him so he can go on and get his moment. And then he'll give it, like, that is a story to tell.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll do it. Maybe they still will. But,
There's
like...
still time. There's still time.
Yeah.
2 weeks, right?
But again, like you had so much time to really get people invested in Jay's struggle of like self-confidence and self-worth, because that's what people can understand. That we've all had self-doubt, we've all questioned our abilities,
Imposter
right?
syndrome, all that stuff.
We've all had people telling us we're not good enough, right? You know, so like that's real. Most people don't know what it's like to chase a championship. That's just not a real thing that people are doing in their day-to-day.
What do you mean
Like,
it's not a real thing?
but pursuing, like, being told you're not good enough, being told, like, you're not capable at work, a lot of people have been told they're not capable at work. Like, we forget that, like, the wrestling is their job, right? Like, so, like...
Yeah.
Someone doubting your abilities... You know, whether it's your family, your friends, or random people that are just like, especially with the internet, how many people have told all of us we suck on our videos? Like,
Yeah. Oh my God, for sure. Like, why do you have this many followers? It doesn't make sense.
yeah, exactly. Literally, that's literally what Jay's story is, right? Like, people are like, why are people yeeting with you? Why are people treating you like you're so good? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
And they're like, they're sort of telling the story. I'm not saying it's not there, but like you said, Neebz, the booking of it is just lackluster. It's missing a lot.
Yeah, it's like, for me, it's like I see the silhouette of that story, and it's like, ooh, like, and that hits with me, like that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, it's an underdog. It's the, you know, just, I mean, he's like kind of just a generic villain, but like, you know, Gunther, like the guy, like, you don't show respect, and your ways are different from ours, and you know, there's the like racial element too, right? Like the like, hey, like that's you talk about, like, having Roman come up to him and be like, no, you're doing this for like the family, right? Because it's like he's not. It's like Gunther. There's that undertone of like he's not just saying like you're a joke and you don't belong here because you say yeet. It's like there's this implication of like, oh no, you know, whatever, like German. Yeah, Aryan. It's like it has that, right? It's this like
very much has Aryan undertones with Gunther's gimmick.
Right?
He's Austrian via Germany or somewhere. Like he's Austrian, but he's like he wrestled in Germany for a lot. So like it's basically you get what it's hinting at.
It's like that's the like undertow, right?
Yeah.
He walks like a military person. He has hands behind his back and all this stuff.
Well, it really like it super reminds me of the Cena Rusev thing, right? Like in the same way of like, Rusev was he was Russian, but that same like, you know, Eastern European military undercoated seriousness and like, ooh, you rogue American like punk, you disrespect this sport with your presence. And
but you know what's funny about that? I just saw a bunch of videos of Gunther on Twitter, and he's like the nicest guy. He's married to an Indian girl. He's doing Bhangra dancing. I'm like, I was so shocked. I was so shook.
Oh yeah. Gunther seems like
that's breaking kayfabe.
I know.
You know what's so funny, Somberton? You mentioned that feud, which also is silly because like Rusev's Bulgarian. He's Bulgarian, but they literally in like wrestling lore tied him to Russia, even saying that like Vladimir Putin gave him this medal Like it's insane. It's absolute madness. This was in 2015. Like, I know Russia is still like a threat in people's minds, but like in 2015, Russia was like, oh no, because Trump was in like campaigning for presidency and everything at that time. So it was they weren't undertones, they were overtones.
Yeah. It's so silly.
It's so funny how like in that scenario it was. I feel like the like in that scenario it was Rusev being a foreign heel, right? But like in this scenario, it's more like it's I don't know the like it's sort of reversed because like they don't play up Gunther being a foreign heel.
No, it's
like
it's
oh
much
no,
more of a
like,
like professional, like I wear a suit. I respect,
But in this scenario, it's more.
Yeah.
In the Cena scenario, is a foreign heel versus the American. Now it's a person of color facing the Aryan, and so it's just like the dynamics are flipped, which is it's cool that wrestling can do that. That's one of the things I love about it, is like you can take the same concept, but depending on who's the face and who's the heel, it's inverted. It looks different, and it's really cool.
Yeah.
Good. All right, guys, I'm gonna head out. We've been out here for an hour and 45 minutes, but this was good talk. We'll try to do this again in maybe in 2 Tuesdays from now, maybe the one before WrestleMania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this was fun. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no problem. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.
Hey, see ya.